I don't think I grieved it properly.
Mm.
You lose your dad at 16 years old. Like, I remember my mom saying, "Do you want to go talk to someone?" I was like, "No, why would I want to talk to somebody about my feelings? Like, that doesn't make sense." Little did I know, it makes perfect sense. Fast forward now at 41 years old. And I think over the last 2 years, probably I can safely say, like, I'm finally okay with him, like, being gone, if that makes sense. And it'll probably make sense to some people that have lost a loved one. So I was just so mad. 16 years old, there's so many things that I want to achieve in life that I want him to see, and he never got to see. And I want him to see my boys, never get to see them. So, and I think, and that's why it led me down to drink as much as I used to drink. So I'm 558 days sober now.
Congrats, man.
Yeah,
That's
thank
amazing.
you. But and when I say do the work, like, I thought I did the work when my dad passed, and then I finally, decided to go talk to someone. That wasn't until about 30 years old, and that was seeing some stuff on the job that I think triggered some stuff and some memories from that day. And I finally started to put the pieces together, and I was in the worst shape of my life early on in my career, and I was drinking the most I'd ever drank, partying the most, and just being angry more so. And then I went through no drinking for a year, no drinking for 6 months, did all kinds of stuff with a natural path, and slowly started to, like, rebuild my body, but I was still drinking all the time. But I thought I was doing the work. I was talking to therapists, and I was always trying to get the therapist to tell me, "Oh, you don't have a drinking problem," because I wouldn't tell them how much I drank or whatever, right? And it was really truly that I just didn't process or grieve that loss properly. And I was so angry about it. And then the last 2 years, I've truly done the work. And by doing the work, I had to get rid of the alcohol and feel every possible emotion you can. Because it's a lonely place when you stop drinking or when you stop using whatever it is you're doing. And I can speak to that from experience. It was a lonely place, and I had to feel everything, every possible emotion, because I had nothing else. Right. So when I would have those days where I think about my dad, I didn't have a beer to numb it. Right. I'd have those bad days with my kids where I get frustrated or whatever it is. I didn't have anything at the end of the day to just, okay, tomorrow's a new day. I had to feel it, own it, work through it, learn from it, move on. Right. So sit in it, as I like to say.
Mm.
Was
That was a hard one.
Was there like an aha moment that triggered that breakage or that stopping point?
Stopping point of drinking.
Yeah.
I think most people will probably tell you the same thing. It was never one. It was like just a combination of numerous things over time. And you honestly, truly, and I would hear all these sayings, and I'd watch all these mindset things. And I was always a big mindset guy. I was always into journaling, meditating, working out, 5 a.m, cold plunges, all that stuff. And again, doing the work, but I wasn't doing the work because I still had alcohol in my life. So there wasn't like one point. It literally got to the point where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. If that makes any sense. I got sick and tired of saying all these things and then not doing any of them, like full potential. Right? Do all this charity work, do all this giving back, do all of this, but then still battling all these demons or whatever I had going on.
Which is a blessing, right? Because like
for sure,
our last cast, for instance, like sometimes there is that like super shitty moment that something happens or something's collapsing pretty bad because of it, and it forces you to have to make that decision, right? So like thankfully you didn't get to that point. Like you thought through that process and decided you wanted to.
Yeah. And it took a long time, and it was just whatever, could have been this thing after thing after thing, and it just adds up and adds up, and then eventually you just go, I am just so unhappy. And it could be, for everyone's different. It could be you're putting in all this work, you're doing all this training, and you're not seeing any results because you can't follow through on anything. You're 235 pounds walking around when you should be 190 pounds, like diced because of the work you do, but you can't stop drinking or whatever it is. Like, I'm just using, I don't want to use body imaging or anything like that, but that was part of it too. I take off my shirt and aesthetically, I'm like, oh my God, no, this isn't okay. You're working, you're putting in this work, and you're trying to do all these good things, and you don't look good. You're tired. you're not showing up properly for your family. Like, so it became that, just the whole just not showing up properly.
Right.
You're half into it, right? You're
Yeah.
half parenting, you're half listening, you're half because you just want to get to a drink
Yeah.
that day, that night. So it was a long, but that was a long road. Like that was when I first started to be like, oh, maybe I have a problem. Like I'm talking like 11, 12 years when I first started to be like, oh, that's weird. So that was a really tough time.